Well, this is a hideous sound. The squeal of zombified piglings dying over and over again. We're going to hear a sound just as terrifying by the end of this episode because we're going to be building an epic farm today. But obviously I've been over here getting my gold together because at the end of the last episode I left you with a lot of crafting to do. I've raided my entire stash of gold blocks, I've raided everything here, and this is all that I've got left now. Did an overnight AFK session, you can see by the XP that I've got, and it's paid off as I've been able to craft up every single shulker box full of these ingredients. Just look at this. Absolutely bonkers. Everything is golden. Wait, did I see? I've got some random glowstone in here apparently. Well, that one can go with this pile of resources over here. It's just madness in this area, the amount of shulker boxes. And of course, these are all ingredients for the potion making. So the golden carrot is going to do these two right here down at this end. They are for night vision and invisibility. And then we have the glistering melon, which is for the healing potion. And if you're in any way out of the loop with what this mega project behind me is about, you need to go and watch the recent episodes because this thing has been one big undertaking and there's still a long way to go. There really is, but we've been doing some epic things along the way, like gathering an insane amount of shulker boxes, which we're going to fill to the brim with potions. And today's farm is going to be an insanely fun one to put together. I've got some more resource gathering to do, but I wanted to give you an update on the Phantom Farm. Just look at this. Every opportunity I get, we're getting loads of Phantom Membrane there, loads of Phantom Membrane down here. All is good, basically. And of all the AFK sessions and farms that we're using to put this project together, I once again have smacked my face into a wall. No, I once again need an insane amount of resources for the project we're doing today. And that is obsidian, and we actually have a farm for this. In fact, we actually have two farms, because here in our nether hub we have the piglin trading, which requires gold, which is why I have not used it this time around, but I have raided out the last of the obsidian here, so now we have to use another farm that I built earlier in the season. And that, of course, is our obsidian farm here in the end dimension. Did you see that netherrack just drop out of thin air? Well, that is being shot through the end portal, which is chunk loaded, so it's going to continuously do that while we're here. Every time an item comes through, it regenerates this platform. And I can't remember if I did this with a clicker before, but one thing you can do in this game is you can hold down F3 and T and it reloads, and I can take my hands off of my keyboard and I can clap my hands together. As you can see, the game thinks we're still holding down click, so now I can just leave the computer running, and this is how we get such an insane amount of obsidian. And I seem to forget this one every single time, but haste 2 obviously means that you get to mine the obsidian a little bit faster. It is no joke, when I came back to the computer after it was AFK mining obsidian, I watched the last couple of blocks break, and then they didn't reappear again because at that point in time we had run out of items coming through. And by the way, they all get collected down here now. Someone added a water stream and it makes it really awkward to get to this chest, as you can see. Ah, and that's all of the obsidian that we got, and there's the items that got spat through to load this area. Oh yeah, and leaving the end dimension, this is where I respawn now because I've been avoiding sleeping in a bed so that we can phantom farm easier whenever I get to do that. This is above Corrales' base and I love it, just dropping out of the aeroplane and then swooping off back to the base. So today, my friends, we are going to be building a ghast farm, and for it we need over 5 boxes of obsidian, which we now have. That took a fair bit of time to pull together, and the ghast farm is actually not the first thing we're going to do this episode. We are actually going to be heading into the nether dimension, and as we pop out on the other side, you might notice something new. We now have a fancy tunnel here leading over to the main tunnel, which is currently kind of like a work in progress. Look at the squiddies dying. Oh boy. Yeah, in one of the updates they redid the portal mechanics, and ever since then the squids come to this top portal up here. But check out the design, I'll let you spot the particulars. It's really nice. It leads up to our portal here, and so not only do we have the drop down below to fly through the nether, we're now hooked up to this tunnel. And it was actually like an episode or two ago that I talked about this project, right? We dropped off loads of blackstone for XP. So all the way through on this side, you can see the tunnel design has been finished and it looks amazing. So then at some point we've also got to hook up a tunnel on the opposite side of this. I'm definitely going to go with a different pattern to that one. I don't want to repeat it over again, but it takes us to this portal, which takes us to the brewer. And speaking of this project, there was a change we needed to make here that I thought would involve lots and lots of levels of XP. But it turns out there's actually a better method for what we need to do. So I thought I'd be renaming tons and tons of items because as it currently stands, a hopper like this that isn't fully full, because of course more filters can go inside it like that, will continuously look for items above it. And the trick here is simply to replace all of these with minecarts, whereas I thought I was going to be putting in full stacks of iron bars. So over here you can now see there are minecarts taking up every slot, and each time we do this it just means the hopper is putting less of a strain on the server. So that has been taken care of from that end all the way over to here. When it comes to the blaze rods and water bottles, they are already full stacks, so those are optimized. And then when we get down here and we start to share these, we should be able to do the same thing again because we've got a hopper below this one. So yeah, over here we'll do the optimizations with the minecart as well. And so now we have another optimization to do, or should I say fix actually, because the brewer down the end here isn't going to work at all. This is the weakness potion and the fermented spider eye comes through and it's the only ingredient. And this whole contraption works on having an item queued up to go into the brewer through this hopper, so this comparator turns on. That's not going to happen if we only have one ingredient, and I'm very thankful this one happens to be over the edge here, because we're going to need to modify it with some redstone coming off the side here. And so before we do that, I just want to remind you of two things. First of all, I've set up a mailing list. If you would like to get an email reminder weekly of all the things I've been up to across my channels, then head over to xisumavoid.com and sign up. And also, after this live stream goes out, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch. That is going to take place 1 hour after the video goes out, and I'll be live on Twitch for about 2 hours playing on Hermitcraft. So then, it's redstone time, and over here in the distance you can see some colossal contraptions that are finished that we're going to be talking about in future episodes. This right here might just be the last piece of redstone I engineer for this entire project. And like I described a moment ago, I have to rebuild the end brewer because it doesn't work like the other ones. These ones actually sit with ingredients inside of the hopper that then activate the rest of the sequence of events, which fits into a very small and compact space. Because ours doesn't work that way, I've had to really shimmy some wiring together, which I'll have an attempt at compacting. For example, you can see this right here sort of awkwardly goes over to the side, and that's just because I've given myself lots of space to build this. So I might be able to shimmy it around into this space over here, but let's actually start with what this circuit is. So when this thing gets activated up the top here, a fermented spider eye is going to make its way down into the brewer to turn these into the weakness potion. That is going to create a signal as it passes through this hopper. What we then need to do is increase that signal length, and we're doing that with hoppers over here. But the key thing is that the items not only need to go from one side to the other, they need to make their way back again, because we don't want this thing cooling down when the next signal comes in, and that's exactly what it does. So when the items move over to this side, this is going to get activated. I just learned something really interesting about this contraption. As I'm explaining it, I notice it doesn't quite work how I expect, so we're going to simulate the items going across, because that comparator would turn on. This doesn't create a signal with this circuit just yet. It does it on the way down. So the items are going to filter across and then they're going to go back again. But what I just learned is that they go back again because the redstone signal state here changes. So this gets a block update when enough items go into the hopper to change the comparator output. I thought it was the amount of items inside the hopper going all the way from one side to the other. So this actually never turns off and it's entirely useless. So we can get rid of that. But when it does what it just did, that's when this will then go down and create a new output signal for us. This circuit is going to extend the length of it. So the amount of time that it controls this for is very important. Okay, so I've brewed up some weakness potions in here. At that point, this is when this circuit gets activated. So it's going to unlock this hopper, but it's going to lock what's going on the other side. So all of our potions actually get drained out somewhere down here to this dropper. And then when we flick the switch, the water bottles are going to come in from this side because it's currently locked. This is also going to send a signal up to the top here, and that's going to start the whole thing over again because another one of these just dropped through, right? Now, because this part happens automatically where it puts the spider eye into the hopper, we will actually need to lock it on a couple of conditions. One of them is that we don't have enough fermented spider eyes or water bottles, and the other one is that the potions are getting backed up down here, meaning that storage is full. So when we detect more than one potion inside of here, and one will only flow through at a time because we're using subtracting, it'll create a signal that goes up to this one that locks the hopper. And then whenever any of those conditions are ready again, that's going to unlock, the item is simply going to drop down and the brewing continues again. So I had to make a minor adjustment over here because it turns out that quirk with the redstone was actually breaking some of the timing, and I've just done a test. It's done a batch of potions, it's filled up all of this down here, and then this thing is filled up activating this. So this is in waiting for potions to be taken out. If I simulate the potions being taken out by the shulker box loader down below, if ever it gets backed up and then we replenish it, yeah, look, it starts straight again. The timer over here is activated and it is ready to continue brewing. It is a success. There is one more thing for me to do though, and that is to just see if I can compact this down a little bit. Well, I am happy to say here is the whole contraption compactified. Some potions just went through. Another one is now going in here. And look at this, yeah. I managed to streamline it into a rather small space. And I'm just going to run this through a couple more checks. This thing is good. It is golden. It is ready to go. It is now here on Hermitcraft. And I think that next episode what we need to do is get some of these brewers started and get them making potions. But for today's episode, we are going to work on yet another farm. So some time ago, I was chatting with Nembom about something or other, and he sent me a world, and in that world I found a really interesting farm concept that he had built on the roof of the Nether, and it stuck in my mind for quite some time. It was like an all-in-one mega farm, and then I thought about adapting it to make it a ghast-only farm, and when I spoke to Nembom the other way, it turned out he was doing the same thing, and he'd already built and figured out this amazing farm. And this farm is built on the roof of the Nether. So earlier in the season we broke bedrock, we have the vines to get up onto this top area, we got a farm off in that direction, and then we got some torches that lead us not too far off into the distance here. So about 7 or 8 seconds later we should be coming up on the end of this, and the sky should be changing colour, and you will see some blocks here on the bedrock roof. What is this? This is actually the biome border of a soul sand valley. Look at that. You can see where I've walked around and placed carpets to give us an idea of where the edge is. That's because we want to make sure the farm we're building is entirely inside this biome. So to give you a refresher, there are 2 mobs that spawn inside the soul sand valley. Possibly the strider mob spawns in here as well. But that is the skeleton and of course the dreaded ghast. There it goes. Now there is something that can stop the skeleton spawning, and that is actually light levels. Light levels can suppress the area around it so that skeletons can't spawn until they're in a low enough light level. But the thing here is that ghasts will be able to spawn in this higher light level, and that is a way in which we can have only ghasts spawning in our farm. And there are many light sources in this game. You got sea lanterns, you got torches, and then you got fire. But there is something else that emits light that we're going to use. Can you guess what it is? That's right, it's going to be a portal block. The lava is disrupting my experiment. I think that's the last of it. Okay, so we got a nice and moody atmosphere here, and usually I put the plug-in on so that it turns up the brightness when I'm in the Nether, but it's just default at the moment. And it should be very clear to see that things brighten up around the Nether portal. If we press F3, we can look at the light level, and as you can see, right next to it is light level 10, which will suppress skeletons from spawning. So the ghasts, they spawn in the Nether, and we're using portals. That means they're going to go through to the overworld, right? And can you figure out where we are right now? If you see the coordinates on screen, we're in the opposite location from the Nether, here in the overworld, and up here is the contraption that's going to kill the ghasts when they come through to this side. And I haven't really thought of a good way to show you this. Okay, if we drop down like so, we can just about see everything here. We've got a portal, and the obsidian blocks are actually going to suffocate damage the ghasts when they come through this thing because they're so big. We've also got wither roses to give them the wither effect and help kill them off. And then underneath all of these blocks, the carpets, the soul sand, we've got hoppers to pick up the items and put them into the chests at the front. Now this is a long way away from anywhere, so there are no portals in the Nether and there are no portals in the overworld that are going to link up with this and what we're going to build on the opposite side. So that's a good thing, but it does mean at some point I'm going to want to build a portal like probably over 100 blocks away in one direction or another so that I can come through to the overworld and then I can fly over here to pick up my items. And there was a portal that I came through about 3,000 blocks away from here. That was our Wandering Trader Farm portal. That was kind of like the closest thing to this location. Problem is, I don't know actually where that was. I forgot to take down the coordinates. So we're probably just going to fly all the way back to 0, 0. Hold up. Got a random portal over here. This'll do. No idea where this area is, but let's hop through. And this is what greets me on the opposite side. No actual sign of a path or player activity. I think I'm going to pop back through. And look at this. A little bit further along, jungle comes into view. Oh, it's actually my base, which makes sense because I kind of picked the location of a soul sand valley that was close to my area in the Nether. And here in the Nether, I dropped off some supplies. I might have made a miscalculation, but I believe all of these blocks are needed for the spawning platforms, and that is a heck of a lot of blocks, right? And you know what's going to happen now? It's time for music. It's time-lapse time. Let's go ahead and let's build this farm. Time lapses are good fun and all, but you know, hours into it, I kind of realize it's the same thing over and over again. We're just building up this crazy series of platforms which actually needs to go higher than where I am standing right now in the AFK spot. And it has not all been smooth sailing. I actually had trouble getting this thing to work, and Nembom has been a saint walking me through all the different details of this farm, and we figured out that I actually built the thing you've already seen in the overworld on the wrong coordinates. I had to go and rebuild everything over there by a couple of blocks. And so this used to be over here by like 10 or 8 blocks, and I moved the entire contraption now to this space. And I have some unfortunate news. If anyone else is online and in the overworld, the ghasts are actually going to instantly despawn when they come through this portal. So either I ask for an AFK buddy to come over here to the overworld, or I AFK when no one else is online or no one is in the overworld, and then this thing works. And you know, for the time it's been running, which wasn't too long, look at that, we've already got a few stacks of ghast tears. So the question for me now is, how much longer do I have to build this thing before I put the episode out on Friday? Remember, I have a schedule for getting my episodes out, 2 a week, Mondays and Fridays. And so this thing is, you know, gonna be at least double the height of what you see here, if not triple. I think it's gonna be one of those projects we end up picking up over the course of multiple episodes, maybe on live streams. But here's something that I gotta do straight away. All of these blocks over here, they were missing on Nembom's design, and I thought that it might have been erroneous. It turns out these all need to go. This is not part of the spawning area. Any ghasts that spawn on this side will not actually hook up with the portal in the otherworld. And it occurs to me as I say that, you know, there's a lot about this farm that needs to be explained, but I'm going to leave it to Nembom because he obviously understands its inner workings in and out, and it's really quite fascinating. I don't think he's put out a video on it yet, but when he does, I'll be sure to inform you. So as I do more building and we get higher in the world, we got skeletons spawning on top of the obsidian. The light level doesn't reach up and around on top of here, it would seem, and I've been thinking about how I'm going to deal with this, because as we get higher up, they're going to spawn more and more frequently. You can see I'm kind of going through the process of adding the spawning floors and also putting in all of this, which can be lit up. So I think what I'm going to do after I finish this floor is just build all the portals all the way to the very top, put carpets on top of them, and then, yeah, we shouldn't have any more skeleton spawns, right? And I can just come back here and fill in the floors whenever we want to increase the rates in this farm. So how high do we go? This high. This is going to be a monster farm when it's finished. Oh, apparently I didn't light up those portals. Also, I just realised that I have no sound. But look, it's done this a couple of times today. It's very strange. Aha, and there we go. So many more floors to do. And we've done... Oh, it's kind of hard to tell because it's so... Oh, I can't see anything. There it is. There it is. Yeah, we've probably done just about half of it so far. And it's probably important that I remove this pillar as well. So now I want to capture this farm in action. I want to show you the ghasts on this side and going through the other side, and I'm hopefully going to be able to capture a bit of time where no one else is online, which should be in the morning. So I'm going to leave this thing on overnight and see what happens when I wake up. And I'm taking a break from building this. I could put more time into it, but you know, there's other things that I want to do in my time as well, not just grind away at Minecraft. And oh my goodness me, it has been a really crazy grind this episode. So I got my opportunity to capture the farm with the camera count with night vision enabled, which looks absolutely insane. And it's actually really difficult to see the full rates of the farm because large parts of it are actually obscured whatever angle you look at it from. And that's actually only going to get worse as this farm gets bigger, but you can see the ghasts popping in and out of existence. So now for the really crazy bit. Yep, the ghasts are very, very loud. Okay, let's turn down the volume. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous how many ghasts are coming through this one nether portal, and all of them are dying and filling up those hoppers with gunpowder and with ghast tears. Oh, and this is just simply a wonderful sight, and it's only going to get better. This farm is going to get faster the more we work on it. Because there are other players online, it's possible that I could have stepped through the portal and all of the ghasts that have gone through before me would have already despawned, but there was no way that I was going to risk this thing getting blown up or anything like that. Let's hop down here and check out the items. I didn't bring... Oh, I did! I brought a shulker box with me. Excellent. So yes, look at this. It produces a ton of gunpowder, which I'm not really after. We're here for the ghast tears. And without the farm even being finished yet, it is... There we go. It has managed to fill up these double chests at the front. We're probably going to need to build a filtering system over here to get rid of the... I was about to say ghast powder. Gunpowder. So we can just fill this thing up with ghast tears. So there is no doubt we'll get enough to fill up our brewery with endless regeneration potions, which is one of the more valuable of ones available. And to get back, I'm actually going to hop through this thing right here. Reason being that no ghasts are coming through at the moment because no one's on the other side. And I should be able to just safely dash out of the farm. Yep, and that is the quickest way for me to get home. And so as we reach the end of this episode, I will say leave a like if you enjoyed yourselves, and as I so often do, going to remind you I've got other channels. If you've never checked out my music channel or my SES channel, you can find links to them in the description box down below. Go check them out, there might be something you enjoy over there. But anyway, that's it from me this one. I will see you in the next one where we'll be hopefully finishing off this ghast farm. So ciao for now, bye bye.